Okay, this is the quick story about Michael Jackson, Vanity, and why their romantic relationship was never made public. Okay, I'm just gonna try to go through this really quick. If my memory is still good. Prince and Vanity at this point were in a relationship. Vanity Six had just released "Nasty Girl." It was this is 1982. Um, it was a hit record, as you all know, and fast forward to 1983. This is around the time they were ready to produce Purple Rain, and I think she had just done Sexy Shooter, and this had to be okay. Yeah, so this is around the summer of 1983. They just got off tour, and she was in L.A. Vanity, and she ran into Michael Jackson, who at the time was the biggest star in the world. I mean, he he already released "Beat It." I think yeah, he already released "Beat It," number one song in the country, huge star, and she took a liking to him. Now remember, she's still with Prince at this time, but so she took a liking to him, and they began talking. And remember, Michael had done the Motown 25, I think March of that year, and his performance. I mean, no disrespect to the other people, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, Four Tops, Diana Ross and the Supremes, but Michael Jackson's performance gave a lot of exposure to Motown 25 show. So, Michael and Berry Gordy had a pretty good relationship up to that point, and Michael told her, hey, you know, I can get you a solo deal over there at Motown, make you more money, you know, I think at that point, her and Prince had already been having problems in the relationship, and she was already, kind of, you know, on the fences about the relationship, and she was getting ready to have the lead role in Purple Rain, and after talking to Michael a couple of times, she decided to break up with Prince, and she didn't give Prince a reason. She just up and left the group and everything, gave up her role in the movie, and went to sign with Motown. Now, at this time, I think it's probably we're probably around December of '83. Her and Michael began a romantic relationship. And this is around the time of when Thriller dropped. Um, she was actually supposed to be the girl in the in the video Thriller, but Michael realized that she didn't tell Prince that he was the reason that they broke up. Now, remember, Michael and Prince had a little rivalry going on at the time, because they're both very competitive guys, and you know they both want to have that I want to be number one mentality, you know. And I remember, Michael just, I guess he just didn't want to ruin. I guess he just didn't want to add any more flame, any more fuel to the fire, you know, as far as those two guys, as far as their relationship goes, him and Prince's relationship goes. So he decides to cast another girl in the video, which is the one that you saw. And Michael, as you see in the picture, in New York, I think this is the spring in New York, and obviously this is probably one of the very rare pictures that you're gonna see with them two together. Because and the reason why they don't mind being seen in this picture because um this is a close family friend that's taking a picture, so it's just one of those you know private pictures that would never like be end up in the tabloids or anything like that. So they're out in New York City, um, and fast forward to what we fast forward to well, 80, 85. So yeah, so they're together. Michael goes on tour, the Victory Tour. Um, so fast forward after the Victory Tour and everything, and you know, the residuals, from Thriller, from the Victory Tour, from the Pepsi commercial, that deal that he signed. Michael was so goddamn rich, it wasn't even funny. I mean, and I think um, things just start to get weird. See, the thing about Michael was, and everybody kind of knows this already, is that he had self-esteem issues. And for most of you guys out there who don't really realize, it's kind of hard to compete. When you have a beautiful girlfriend and her last boyfriend was Prince. Like, come on, Prince. Like, how do you compete with that? And Michael already, was kind of, self-conscious about his looks, even after, just his nose job. You know, this is we're talking about around the Thriller time, so yeah, all these fans, girls are digging him. He still had that insecurity, and I think, you know, there, I think he loved her so much. He just, I think his mind played tricks on him, and I think he put too much pressure on himself. But he would never tell her that though. And I think she kind of knew, but yeah, so this is the thing, for y'all who don't realize, she wanted to go public about their relationship, you know, and because besides the fact that it would help her album sales, because her first album, the Motown, didn't do very well. It would help her album sales. Michael Jackson was the number one artist in the world, and to be his girlfriend would only add more to her public appeal, you know. But like I said, Michael didn't want Prince to find out, so you know he wouldn't tell her that. So it was more of like I don't want the world in our business because they'll try to tear us apart, So she kind of agreed, she kind of understood and left it alone for a while, but it would continue to come back up, like what's going on with this, why can't we, tell people that we're together? And I don't know, I think that really put friction on the relationship, because thing about I think about those two is, I think lack of communication was a huge reason why they it ended. You know, Michael was thinking, she may still have feelings for Prince. You know, she's thinking that Michael is just is maybe using her. I mean, he got her a deal in Motown, but didn't feel like like maybe she was ashamed. Didn't want to put his name to the whole vanity thing. Because he was, at the time, he was still the golden boy. The clean cut attitude, clean cut image. And now this is maybe this is a year into the relationship. We're going into 85. Um, you know, things were up and and down, but for the most part, they were good. It wasn't until '86 where, yeah, she was tired. Things in Motown were in the craps. She felt like her career could have been she could have been doing more. Remember in '85 she did The Last Dragon. And Michael helped her get that role, and that was a big movie at the time. It grossed. It did pretty good financially, and I think you know by '86, things kind of slowed down for her, and she really wants to take the next step in her career. And despite the drugs and stuff like that, which I don't even think Michael was aware, because you gotta remember Michael was, he was at times very, very hard to keep up with. I mean, he would just go on maybe a week or two, go weeks on and weeks off. She wouldn't see him. You know, and I think this is around the time where his vitiligo was starting to get out of control. And remember, he was self-conscious of himself, and he put a lot of pressure on himself as far as wanted to be better than Prince as far as their relationship was. He wanted to be, he wanted to outdo Prince. He wanted, you know, in every way, musically, as a boyfriend. So, and if any of you are wondering how, they're able to, have a relationship without anybody ever really knowing, remember, this is around 1983, was around the time Michael had Neverland built. It was already in its development stages. So yeah, they spent a lot of time on the ranch. Just hanging out with each other and going out and traveling. So you know they did things together. So don't think that, but Michael will go weeks on and without her, she wouldn't see him, and that's when the drug problem started. You know, and she was depressed. Her career was rocky. Her Motown thing wasn't working out. Michael was like acting strange. Every time she would see him, she would notice, these little differences in his features, and she felt like he wasn't being very honest with her, what was going on. And as I remember, I think around 1985, she noticed that Michael started hanging out with different people, and she didn't like these people. She thought that they didn't have Michael's best interest at heart, and she felt like she felt like they were manipulating him, and that's when the weird stuff started to happen. With disappearing weeks on end, and the changes in appearances, and Michael doing weird stuff, and that concerned her, and that caused her to go into a depression, because she also had you know self-esteem issues, not liking herself, and you know wanting people to like her, wanting Michael to love her, and she felt rejected, you know and I think that's when the drug issue started to really take its course on her. But like I said, that lack of communication was going on. Guys don't want to open up, in that way. And I don't think, you know, remember, she was aware that he had, vitiligo, but she wasn't aware of how bad it was getting. And that's why Michael would be disappearing for weeks on, weeks out. He was getting treatment and trying to, even out the tones and stuff. And he was, his facial features, his surgeries and stuff. So, he would go in hiding at times, and he was very hard to find at times. And she thought, women, when your boyfriend goes missing for weeks on, weeks out, you think the worst. So those things accumulated. I think, the career Michael, the drugs, lack of communication, lack of trust. Michael's making had so much money at this time. He could do whatever he wanted. I mean, things just started getting weird, you know. So around the time where Michael was shooting Captain Neo was when she was just like, you know what? I remember, I think maybe the drugs had a effect on it, but she just didn't want to be there anymore, and I think that took a toll on Michael because you know he he really wanted to take the next step with her, you know. But around this time, he was getting ready to do the Bad album, and he knew that he wanted to do something with Prince. And he knew that if Prince found out about his relationship with her, that Prince just wasn't going to do the song. You know, I mean, what guy would do a song with another guy who's dating his ex girlfriend? You know, so yeah, I think the business side also played a factor in it, and but he wasn't gonna tell her that. You know, I think he was going to wait until the project was done before he allowed the information about the relationship to go public. But by that point in time, I think it was too late. And then I think, as I remember, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after she had decided to leave, I mean, she packed her things out of Neverland. She she even had the driver drop her off to pick up one of her cars that she had there. And this is while Michael was away doing Captain Neo. So when she was gone, she left. Michael, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that, Michael started to go into the development stages of the Bad album. And if you listen to the Bad album, he has a song on there called Dirty Diana. And as you know, similar to what Prince did in Purple Rain when he did that song about, I think her name was Nikki, directed toward Apollonia in the movie, he made a subliminal song directed toward Denise Matthews, also known as Vanity, also known as Dirty Diana. And in this song, Michael talks about how they met. He talks about how he, in his mind, felt that she just wanted to advance her career off of him, and how she seduced him and used her sex appeal and her beauty to manipulate him. And in the Dirty Diana video, you know, the girl in the woman in the video that's Vanity. You know, that's a parody of, you know, how he saw her. You know, and at the end of the video, you'll see him getting in the limousine, and there's a tanned, curly-haired woman sitting there. And see, y'all wouldn't know that. He's talking about, that's Vanity. So, you know, that was a character portraying Vanity in the video. And if you go and listen to the song "The Way You Make Me Feel," he's talking about Vanity clearly, you know. And at the end of the song, you know, he talks about their private relationship. He says, "Ain't nobody's business, ain't nobody's business but mine and my baby's." And he's talking about Vanity and the relationship that they had. And he wrote that song before they broke up. So The Way You Make Me Feel was written for Vanity. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. People don't know this though, and you probably will never know it. The only reason I'm telling you this because at this point, you know, what do I have to lose? You know, but out of respect for Denise, I just didn't want to, you know, go into it. You know, but you know, so at this time, you know, Michael was really upset. I mean, he was depressed, but he turned that emotion, that passion, and that hurt, and he made the bad album, and you can hear it in his music. His music changed, you know. He had more attitude, and he was going at the microphone. His storytelling got better. You know, the song Speed Demon. And songs like Leave Me Alone are inspired by Vanity and their relationship. You know, go back and listen to the songs. He's talking about a particular girl. Yeah. And in the Leave Me Alone video, you'll see at the end of the video, he stands up and he breaks the roller coaster, and that was a symbolic message to her, saying that the roller coaster ride is over. You will no longer use me. You will no longer ride my coattails. And that's strong message. But the fans didn't know that. But that was his message to her, and how they used to ride the roller coasters at Neverland. You know, she would go on. She moved on. She went on to do movies like Action Jackson. So her career continued to flourish. After they broke up. He would go on to meet Tatiana. And for y'all who don't know who Tatiana is the girl in The Way You Make Me Feel. She's the model that he's pursuing in the video. And now remember, him and Vanity had already broken up at this point, and I wouldn't call Tatiana a rebound. I thought that was a pretty legit relationship. I thought he really liked her, and he took her on tour with him. They were boyfriend and girlfriend, and as you see in the picture. And what happened between those two were Michael Jackson, the people around him, those same people that Vanity didn't really like. I'm not talking about Frank Jaleo, because Frank was a good guy, but the other guys around him, they played a part in their relationship. They were on tour. I remember, I think it was 80, 88, 87, 87. We were on tour, and they're on stage performing The Way You Make Me Feel. And she, out of nowhere, which was unrehearsed, kisses Michael on stage. Now, understand this. Michael Jackson never really he didn't go public with his relationships, and he felt like she basically outed him right there, and not only is that disrespectful, to him, and his wishes, but it's kind of disrespectful to Vanity, who couldn't even get a article, and she's out here kissing on Michael, and not only that, Michael was kind of taken back by it. He felt like he couldn't trust her, because he already kind of felt like Vanity, at the time he felt that, Vanity kind of was using him, even though I don't believe that was the case. I just think Michael's insecurities overtook him. They messed him up. And I think the people around Michael did not like his relationship with Tatiana. They felt like he was gonna go right back down the same path he went down with Vanity, which people close to those two knew that it had its ups and it had its downs, and they felt like she was gonna get in the way of Michael Jackson continuing to elevate his career. So they had her kicked off of the show. I mean, they sent her home, off the tour, kicked off the tour, replaced her, boom, gone. They convinced Michael to break up with her, because Michael had already felt like she had broken the cardinal rule, which they already discussed, and you add that with the people around him who had a lot of influence with Michael. He trusted those people. I didn't trust him, but yeah, and they convinced him to break up with her and send her home. And I'm pretty sure she hadn't talked to Michael since. So I think the people around Michael played a part in their demise. I think Vanity's personal issues, played a huge part. I think Prince played a huge part, and I think it would have been great because Michael really loved her and he wanted to have kids with her. Come on, he wanted to have kids with her. He wanted to marry her, you know, but he could never overcome this Prince thing, and I never could understand it, you know. But he always try to compete with him. It's so strange, in every aspect, and yeah, um, I don't think Michael ever recovered emotionally from the whole Vanity relationship. If you ever noticed, after that, Michael just got weirder and weirder. I'm talking about this is around 87, around 88, 89. I was let go around 91. So I don't know anything about the personal stuff after that. But, you know, I was his one of his personal assistants, and at times I was his driver. So that's how I know what I know. And yeah, it was it played a huge part in the weird stuff that happened, after they broke up. Yeah. So he got really weird after that. And not saying that he changed, but you know, just certain things were different after that, Some of the decisions he was making after that, I knew were tied into him and Denise. And that's all I have to say. I just wanted to share that with the fans, Michael and Vanity, Hollywood's untold love story.